Welcome, Emerge fans. This is the card reveal for Emerge 26, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. I am your esteemed commissioner. My name is Christopher Lowe. Thank you very much for joining me. Before I bring in Casey and Lurch, I wanted to address the situation with the bomb shelter in general and Zodiac in particular. As you know, Zodiac lost the Emerge championship at Emerge 25 in a casket match against new champion Chris Caliber. Not even 12 hours later, we started getting calls at the Emerge offices from Zodiac, from Jason Saint, from the bomb shelter, essentially threatening me, threatening Emerge staff, threatening to do a whole lot of damage. I can't have that. Not after what they did a few months ago, shattering Chris Caliber's knee. So I would like to take this opportunity to invite Zodiac and the bomb shelter to come to Emerge 26, come into the ring, let's discuss your grievances and see what goes from there. For now, though, let me take this opportunity to welcome Emerge's Director of Production, Casey Johnson, and play-by-play man, A.W. Lurch.
Evening, Commissioner.
Good evening.
How we doing, Commish?
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's been an interesting couple of weeks. Of course, first things first, congratulations to Chris Caliber, who won the Emerge Championship. It's going to be interesting, but yeah, I've been receiving the calls too from Zodiac, from Schwartz, from Jason Saint himself, asking the simple question of, when does he get his rematch? And more importantly, one thing that he's talked about, why is it Silvio?
Yeah, we'll get into that a little later, but, well, we'll get into that later.
Yeah, I mean, he's only had one match in Emerge. I mean, come on, Commish. Why? I mean, Chris Silvio, really?
Yeah, really. He's that good. And we'll get into exactly why a little later on.
Well, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome everybody to the live stream. For those of you that hung on through those promos there at the beginning, through all of that stuff, we're trying out some new technology we have to bring this to you guys better live. As a matter of fact, we have a second camera. So we are, as always, we strive to bring you the best production possible, and with this new studio we built here in the offices, this is a lot better. We have a mobile setup we can use. And so first thing I want to do is I want to do a couple housekeeping notes. Number one, some of you might have missed it, but at the last show, we released DVDs of Emerge 22 and, of course, of Downtown Throwdown. And for those of you who weren't at Downtown Throwdown especially, but even if you were there, I highly, highly recommend that you get this DVD. It was an amazing night, and
Absolutely.
It's just as good reliving it, Chris.
Yes. I mean, of course, nothing compares to seeing an Emerge event live. But DVD's second best way to go.
I must say this is the first event that I missed for Emerge this year, and I am still waiting for that DVD to come out.
I'm still waiting for you to buy one.
Oh, well, you will.
What?
Another thing that I want to touch on, which I even forgot to discuss in our pre-production meeting here, but tomorrow is the day, ladies and gentlemen, when my interview with Donnie Idol goes live. For those of you who haven't been seeing the post, which I don't know how you haven't been seeing the post, but I used to host a podcast called Indie Talk, and we are bringing it back. I've got episodes coming up every week for you, and my first guest is going to be Donnie Idol, and I will tell you, I have conducted the interview. It goes live, and Donnie Idol has dropped a couple of bombshells on Emerge, so definitely be sure to turn into that tomorrow night on, of course, the Emerge Facebook page, YouTube channel, and all of the like. So,
Quite the way to make the return there, Casey.
yeah. I mean, I said this a week ago when I announced it, in that I would not have brought back this for just anybody, and I've been thinking about bringing it back for a while. And of course, I'm head of production, but I still had to run it through the board of directors, and they were fine with it. And there was nobody I wanted, and Donnie fought. He wanted to be my first guest, so it really worked out. Of course, we went all the way through his career. We talked about the circumstances behind me actually meeting him nearly 9 years ago, which is one of my favorite stories. So it's a really, really good interview. We went for quite a while, and it's going to be something the Emerge fans are going to appreciate.
And I assume you're touching on the latest incident with...
Had to start off with it. I told him when I scheduled him for the interview, I said, we don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, because I know when somebody goes through something that traumatic, that's something that a lot of times they don't want to relive. But he wanted to do it. He wanted to talk about it, and he has a message for whoever did it, and his exact words to whoever did it, you're gonna have to find out tomorrow. I hate to leave you in suspense like that, but it'll get you to watch my podcast. So,
and speaking of message, how about that message we saw at Emerge 25? I mean, that was a little creepy, and didn't seem like it was supposed to be part of the show. I'm not sure.
It wasn't.
It definitely wasn't. I feel so sorry for Brandon. I had a new guy running my sound and my video. I've been training him, and he's the best, but he got a little bit freaked out when that happened, because apparently his screen just went black and stuff started happening, and still no idea what happened there. And Ricky Ruckus has again been on a warpath, yet again trying to figure out who in the world this is, and Donnie is getting to the point now where within the next few months he's going to be able to start the search himself.
I just hope Donnie, even before he can begin the search, he needs to talk to Ricky Ruckus and talk him down from the ledge, because he's going to snap one day, and I'm really concerned that he's going to do something he shouldn't at one of the shows, and it's something we can't have.
Yeah, especially with, it's no secret, Ricky being a member of the board of directors. He's in a little bit of a position where, he's representing the company, so it's something you definitely have to watch out for as commissioner.
Right.
But let's get on to Emerge 26, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Commish, you have put together another 5-star card, and I don't know how you keep managing to do this month after month after month, but
because I'm very good at my job, Casey.
We have 8 fantastic matches to get through, and it all starts with our Copies and More Facebook Live match.
Absolutely, and it is going to be a treat, a triple threat: Aaron Anarchy versus Johnny Justice versus Pompano Joe.
And this is a really interesting match, Lurch, because 3 of these guys, all 3 of them, have been on somewhat of a losing streak here in Emerge. All 3 of them need to find their footing.
Yeah, and my man, I think Pompano Joe is going to find that on the Copies and More live stream, Facebook Live match. Pompano Joe, the last time we saw, who did he face the last time?
Ron Mathis.
Ron Mathis, that's right. And it was an unfortunate match for Pompano Joe, that match, but I saw
almost as unfortunate as his dance moves. Matter of fact, Johnny Justice in this match, hopefully Johnny Justice finds some way to exploit the law to actually arrest Pompano Joe for being such a terrible dancer. But the fact of the matter is, as many jokes as we can make, all 3 of these guys are tenacious competitors. One of them has formerly held gold in Emerge. All of them have held gold somewhere in their wrestling careers, but none of them have quite, Chris, been able to latch on to that singles run they've all wanted.
Right, and you touched on it briefly. The last several months haven't been kind to either of those 3 men. So when I put this match together, I figured, you know what, All three guys are very talented. Someone's going to come out on top, and let's see where the momentum takes them.
Absolutely. Well, moving on now to the main card, we have what has the potential to be. Well, it has the potential to be the greatest show on earth.
Very well said, Casey. When I put together cards for the fans, you always like to start out a show with a bang, and I know we're going to get that with this first match. The greatest show on earth, Trevor Court versus Nate Wings.
Now, Trevor Court has had a few consecutive wins. He's built up a really big winning streak, and it's not just been, some wins against some scrubs. He has beaten the likes of Hadley and Vandy, no matter what the circumstances were behind those wins. Of course, Lurch, as always, a win is a win. But somebody that shouldn't be underestimated in this match is Nate Wings. Nate Wings appeared in one Emerge match 2 months ago, and he tore the house down along with Scotty Young, who is also on this card, and Chris Silvio, who's in our main event.
That's right. And, Nate Wings, I got to admit, he did impress me in that triple threat match. He was flying around. I mean, that one move that he did.
In the course of 10 seconds, Nate Wings hit a 619 through the ropes into a splash on a downed opponent, and then went even farther with the springboard moonsault and almost got the pin off of it,
and the
too.
crowd loved it. And you know what? I mean, that move was so smooth. That move was so beautiful. I mean, it almost reminded me of myself just a little bit. I mean, a little bit. I'm just saying, Nate Wings, I mean, he's definitely a rising star here at Emerge Wrestling. But,
Am I the only one with the vision of Lurch doing a 619?
No.
Well,
okay. Lurch, I will say, long legs would produce a good 619.
Booyaka.
I wasn't exactly saying that. I was just more talking about the smooth and beauty of the moves that he sees in the ring. And not only that, but the star potential, the rising star potential. I mean, every quality of those aligns with myself. You have to see something great in somebody like that.
That's why you get in limo weight.
So, if Nate Wings is going to win this match, obviously he's going to have to throw his body around, much like he always does, to take down Chris, the larger Trevor Court. But Trevor Court is a high flyer as well. We've seen a lot of really flashy stuff from him. So, I think Trevor Court is in an interesting position because Nate Wings has one game, throw his body at you, high fly, and really impactful strikes. Meanwhile, Trevor Court could be as versatile as to try to overpower Nate Wings.
He can ground and pound, he can fly.
Yeah, he could do whatever he wants to. If you are Trevor Court in this case, as a competitor, which way would you try to go in combating Nate Wings? Would you try to match him, moonsault for moonsault, as it were, or how would you go about it?
You know what? I would let Nate Wings dictate the pace and play defense, to be quite honest with you, because you look at Trevor Court's recent string of victories. I'm not saying anything for certain, but should Trevor prove successful again, you'd got to think he may be in line for a title shot.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying before, Lurch, he has beaten some of the best that Emerge has to offer. You got to figure that title shot is coming up.
And I did not mean to overlook the speed and agility that Trevor Court has. I mean, this man is a solid athlete, and when you first look at him, that doesn't come across because he's so big, he's so tall. That man is fast, and in the ring against Nate Wings in the opener, I mean, you will not want to be late, Emerge fans. If you're late, you're going to miss possibly one of the fastest matches of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. So, speaking of fast, moving on to the next match, Chris, it's been no secret that you've been trying to inject some new blood into the tag team division.
Yep.
And you have two relative newcomers here getting a title shot against the Hellfire Club. So take a minute to explain your reasoning behind matching up Justin Myers and Jared Kripke versus the Hellfire Club.
Of course. A few reasons. One is you got to look into the history of Justin Myers and Jared Kripke. A lot of people don't know Myers was actually trained by conniving Kenneth James.
Very true.
And Kripke himself is a graduate of the School of Rock, which produces nothing but quality competitors. And you're right. I've been trying to inject new blood into the tag team division. What better time to do that than with new champions? So I figured, this is going to be a great match either way. So let's see what happens.
You're throwing them to the Wolves. You're throwing them to the Hellfire Club, huh? You got these new up-and-coming rookies. Obviously, it's a tough, tall order. I guess nobody wanted to take the shot, and you're throwing these guys to the Wolves, the Hellfire Club. I'm just wondering which 2 out of 3 it's going to be this time.
That's a very good point.
And as you talk about it, he mentions throwing to the Wolves, and it's certainly an interesting time in the tag team division because Mike from BAD, as we saw an update from him before the live stream, Lurch, looks like he's going to be out for a pretty considerable amount of time. And BAD is effectively GONE from Emerge, at least for the time being. And so my question to you is, with BAD out of the picture, why is now the right time to inject so much new talent into the Emerge tag team picture? Because, we've had a lot of really good tag teams in the past. We've had people like the Young Dragons. Aaron Anarchy is a former champion. Why is now the time?
We've said it over and over. BAD, I don't think there's any question, has been the most dominant tag team in Emerge history. When Yukon Mike went down, BAD's on the shelf. That has left a huge opening that has to be filled. And if not now, when do you bring in new talent? So that's the way I look at it.
And it's probably going to
And it's not like these guys are scrubs.
Oh no, for sure.
They could very well win the titles that night. That's why I put them in the match.
Yeah, and at Downtown Throwdown, we saw a brand new team in Aleister Wilde and Anthony Lee take on BAD for those titles. So this initiative has been, going on for a little bit here, and I think...
And it's not going to stop.
Yeah, had Anthony Lee not smacked the concrete with his face, then I do believe that... Aleister and Anthony could have given BAD a run for their money the way that match was going. It's just the way different things go, and you never know when you're going to find that team that just works. I mean, years and years ago when BAD started tagging up together, they were thrown together,
exactly,
and it just worked. So definitely commending
any two guys. Any 3 seconds. That's all it takes.
Absolutely. So definitely commend you on taking that. But, of course, we saw Lurch at Emerge 25 in the Copies and More Facebook Live match. The Hellfire Club will do anything that it takes to win.
That's
and
right.
They did.
That's right, they did, and they walked away with those Emerge Tag Team Championships. I mean, Christopher Icon knows what he's doing. He knows he has a plan. He has an agenda. He sets his goals, and he accomplishes them. I mean, they absolutely did, and they're going to hold those Tag Team Championship belts for a while, in my opinion.
And the fans can think whatever they want about Christopher Icon, but you're right, Lurch. He had an absolutely brilliant plan. Diversionary tactics starting that match.
Believe it.
The guy knows what he's doing, and he does a really good job of looking out for his clients. I will never take that away from Christopher Icon.
And as Lurch makes the prediction that the Hellfire Club is going to hold on to those titles for some time, you got to figure they have a better chance of holding those titles for a long time now that the dissolution of Pretty Perfect has taken full effect. And at Emerge 25, ATM faced Jordan Cage, and ATM, I fully believe, Lurch, say what you will, but I fully believe ATM was about to beat Jordan Cage, and Jordan Cage decided to take a walk. But Chris, you feel as though this match needs to happen.
Absolutely. We had an incident after the match. I was in my office, and Jordan came in demanding a title shot, pretty much trying to put ATM to the side. I let him know that's not an option at this point. He has to deal with his ATM problem.
Then again, Jordan has a history of doing that even when he was a part of Pretty Perfect. I mean, who can forget at Emerge 20 when he demanded to just be inserted into the Outbreak Championship match? Obviously, a little delusional is Jordan Cage.
I don't know if I call it delusional or if I would call it entitled. Maybe a little bit of both.
Now, listen. You all act like Jordan Cage. You all didn't see this coming. Jordan Cage has been saying for months, if the Emerge crowd continues to call him Princess, he will leave. And he has said this for months, and he finally had to put his money where his mouth is and walk out. And he finally had enough. And Emerge audience, if you're paying attention, stop calling Jordan Cage a princess.
If Jordan Cage is putting his money where his mouth is, he probably has a lot of money. But I want to take a minute to talk a little bit about Austin Tyler Morris. By the way, I saw you were a little confused because of how big his mouth is. He makes a lot of money.
Gotcha.
Speaking of ATM.
Yeah, for sure. Austin Tyler Morris has broken out in a way that few people, I think, have. I think back when I was doing Emerge Wrestling Showcase, I think episode 2, one of the matches on it was ATM versus Bobby Black and ATM's debut. And to look at him in that match and to look at him now, he has slimmed up and then subsequently bulked up. He is in the best shape that I have ever seen him in, and the form and, all that he does is just got that little bit of an edge to polish, I think, that makes him really, really dangerous in this singles division.
And what's ironic is the fact that he has to deal with his former tag team partner in Jordan Cage. I mean, I think it made him so mad right now, he doesn't know how to I guess, go beyond that.
For sure.
And there is no doubt ATM is going to deliver that receipt to Jordan Cage on November 4th at Parkside. There is no doubt.
So, yeah, Jordan Cage decided to take the walk. Have you considered any disciplinary action for doing that? I know you're a fan of ending things in the ring.
I am, and quite frankly, it's on my radar, but that's why I booked this match. I want to see a conclusion. I want to see those guys settle it in the ring. If Jordan Cage continues to run away, then I'll have to deal with it then.
Match number 4, we have our first championship match of the evening.
Absolutely. Beautiful Bret Havoc goes up against the bronzed one, Lennox Norris, the new Outbreak champion.
Yes, for sure. Now, Bret Havoc is somebody who made his, let's say, glorious return back to Emerge this last month, and he handled, let's say, Scotty Young. They put on a fantastic match.
Very good show.
Went over 15 minutes before a winner was able to be decided, almost hit that 20-minute mark, and almost got the draw. And those two guys left everything that they had in the ring. I've got to figure that's one of the reasons why Bret's getting this championship match.
He's also been a former number 1 contender for the Outbreak title. Anytime Bret Havoc is in the ring, he produces. So, and what better way to test the mettle of the bronzed one than to throw him up against beautiful Bret Havoc?
I like that. Test the metal.
Yeah, good.
You got beauty against bronze, and for the first challenger against Lennox Norris for the Outbreak title, I mean, Bret Havoc. I mean, this is going to be a test, but Lennox is on a tear lately, and he's a madman. He
of course, Lennox Norris calls himself the bronzed one, and part of the reason behind that is that, every move he does you could make into a statue. He has that kind of polish, he has that veteran's edge, And as far as Lennox Norris goes, beautiful Brett Havoc is just the kind of person I think that can throw him off of his game a little bit, because when you talk about Brett Havoc, you do talk about beauty, no reference intended. You talk about everything that he does has that same kind of polish to it as Lennox Norris, and so it's really interesting to look at.
But will it have that force? Will it have that weight? Will it have that strength behind it, like the statue, the bronze statue against, the beautiful man?
Well, I think what Brett Havoc lacks in power, he gains from his high-flying game. He's able to throw his body across the ring. Much as we talked about, I think Nate Wings falls into that category.
Yeah.
Brett Havoc falls into that category. He adds the power that he needs, and he's got even a little more weight on him than Nate Wings, as frankly most people do. And Brett Havoc is able to... He was close to getting the best of Chris Caliber in the end of July of last year. So,
Yeah. Again, it goes back to, you mentioned it, momentum. Not only momentum in the ring as you are going up against your opponent, but physical momentum that's going to, like coming off the top rope or running around. That momentum is going to help him be able to take down bigger, stronger men.
As you mentioned momentum, it seems like the perfect transition, because it seems as though Brett Havoc and Lennox Norris, in your mind, have swapped opponents.
Absolutely.
As Scotty Young is going to be taking on Poison Apollo Star, and Scotty Young and Poison Apollo Star have one thing in common. They suffered a big loss at Emerge 25, and I think there's a tendency to immediately say, oh, this is for the bronze medal, this is the loser's bracket, right? But I look at this from you as an opportunity rather than that.
Absolutely. Again, Poison Apollo Star, former Emerge champion. Scotty Young, all-around great talent. Neither men are bronze medal at anything, and you're right, this is an opportunity. You win, you lose sometimes, and whoever comes out on top is going to gain that momentum and hopefully maybe see some future title opportunities.
And this is about pride. I mean, both these two are proud men, proud wrestlers. Scotty Young is the man. Scotty Young is not going to, I mean, you've seen him on the Facebook free matches. Scotty Young is not going to go down in this fight against Poison Apollo Star. I mean, and these two are going to battle.
We talk about Poison Apollo Star, though. We talk about a former Emerge champion. We talk about a former E8 tournament winner. And it's extremely compelling to see him fighting so many losing battles. I mean, he had those matches, those amazing matches, Chris, against Zodiac, and then he had those matches against the bronze one, Lennox Norris, and he took 2 out of those 3 pinfalls. One way or another, dirty tactics aside, he took 2 out of those 3 pinfalls. And so for somebody, and Scotty Young is the same way. Lurch, on our commentary, we talked about again and again how Scotty Young is not used to being on the defensive in Emerge. He has very much so held his own. Chris, neither of them are used to being on the defensive, so it's going to be interesting to see both of these men at their hungriest.
And if we just take a step back and talk about Star taking those pinfalls, the thing you got to remember is he was in a position to become a champion. Mm-hmm. He earned those opportunities, and this match against Scotty Young is just another opportunity.
Yeah, an opportunity to regain that footing and an opportunity to get back into the race.
And also, it's an opportunity for Scotty Young. I mean, to be able to say, I beat Poison Apollo Star.
There are not all that many men on the face of this planet who can say that they cleanly beat Apollo Star. Apollo is one of the very best out there, but Lurch, to give your boy some credit, I do think if anybody has the potential to, it is Scotty Young.
Scotty Young is one of the top best up-and-comers in Emerge. This match is going to be a technical masterpiece if you've been paying attention to the matches. I mean, this is, do not overlook this match. I don't care what you all have been talking about. This is going to be like I said, a battle.
So our last two matches here were announced a week ago on the Emerge Facebook page, but they still bear our discussion. And
Absolutely.
The first of them is a match that the Emerge crowd has been asking for months. That being a number one contenders match for the Emerge Women's Championship. Who is going to come out on top? Randy West or Lainey Luck. Both of these women are newcomers to Emerge, but we are very familiar with the company that Randy West keeps, let's say. First thing I want to ask you, Chris, is why is now the right time? I mean, Karma won the championship all the way back in June. So why is it just now in November that we're deciding who is going to face her, and whoever's going to face her is going to face her at the anniversary show? What's your thought behind that?
Quite frankly, the cards have been stacked. There's only so much time, so much room, and I'm not taking away from Karma or the women's championship, but you also got to realize Karma has been in the middle with the Chris Caliber Zodiac situation. I want my champions to be focused on their matches on their title defenses, not on any extracurricular activities.
Plus, when you reopen a division like that, I imagine that there's a lot of scouting that you have to do.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, when Haley Shadows falls to Karma, and Karma, there is... I'm going to say this, and I do not regret it. There is nobody more popular with the Emerge fan base than Karma. Period. She gets the biggest reactions out of anybody on the card on any given night. And so to find somebody who you were going to say, you're the next one worthy of that shot against Karma, that is a really, really tough search.
And on that note, as most everybody knows, I hang around the Emerge offices quite a bit. I did sneak into your office, Commish. I saw the list. Of the contenders for the Emerge Women's Championships.
Yeah.
I took it upon myself to go home, do some research on YouTube. I did some studying, and I got to say, Lainey Luck has piqued my interest quite a bit. I mean, I must say, she is one of... I like where this is going, let's just say.
Any particular reason? Just any particular move set?
So Lainey Luck is a particularly interesting individual here. She is let's say as in tune with popular culture as you will ever see. As a matter of fact, I saw a video from her the other day. She was wearing a shirt and it just said "Turnt." What is it about her personality that makes her so electric and the right person to bring into Emerge?
In a lot of ways, she is similar to Karma in that she elicits a fan response, and again, she's very in tune with pop culture. And I want to back up a bit when you talked about scouting for potential opponents for Karma. It's not just scouting. The number of videos that were sent in by female wrestlers wanting a shot in Emerge. How much time did we spend going through those?
Hours and hours. I mean, we formed a committee, just to look at that. And that's one of the reasons that it took so long, is because we had to make sure that it was the right people. And as much as Karma, it seems, tries to distance herself, she cannot distance herself, it seems, from the bomb shelter.
Absolutely not. I mean, the last time she tried to, they were in the parking lot filming her, The closest she came was right there at the end of that casket match where she bonked Zodiac in the head, but you're right.
Of course, in the case of Randy West, she has built a repertoire, she has built a resume for herself, and that resume includes very strong ties to Joseph Schwartz and Zodiac. And my question to you, Chris, is why bring in another one? I mean, we have enough issues dealing with two members of the bomb shelter as it is, plus Jason Saint. Why do you bring in somebody like Randy who is sure to make your paperwork a lot harder in the evenings?
Because it's not fair to judge someone solely on the company they keep. You look at their entire body of work, and if you've watched any Randy West matches, she is more than capable of carrying the Emerge women's banner. She, quite frankly, deserves an opportunity.
So Randy West versus Lanie Luck is going to be, I think, one of those matches that the Emerge crowd is more interested in the conclusion of the match than the match itself. They're going to say, okay, who is it that gets this shot against Karma? That's what we care about. But let's not take away from the fact that both of these women are tenacious competitors, and this has the potential, I think, Lurch, to be match of the night.
Oh, yes, and my money's on Lanie Luck. I mean, I'm a gambling man. I like the name Luck, and, she is just turned. I just love that about her. She's just so turned. I mean, it's just like... Lanie Luck's got it all.
Lurch, my friend.
Turned.
Please never say that word again in your life.
Oh. I did just learn it today, but I'll try.
So, one thing about this match that we've neglected to mention is that I am going to have a very special guest on commentary. I have invited Karma, and she has graciously accepted. So she's going to be ringside to see who is going to end up facing her.
She better be taking the new guy John Gates' spot, not mine. That's all I know.
Well, I would never take away your opportunity to be ringside to see Lanie Luck. I know you have a vested interest in that particular match. Moving on to the main event, we have another match that was announced last Tuesday it's the big one. Mm-hmm. And this is the match that has caused all of the controversy. This is the match that you are catching a lot more flack than you need to for. Chris Caliber versus superstar Chris Silvio.
Yeah, Commish, this is his second match. This is his second match in Emerge Wrestling, and you've got him in an Emerge Championship match. Jacob Johns deserved the shot. He's been tearing it up. Jacob Johns deserves the title shot, if you ask me.
Isn't Jacob Johns' hands a little full at the moment?
Well, his hands could be fuller with gold. How about that?
Wow. You're right. I've been catching a lot of flack for this. Chris Caliber versus superstar Chris Silvio. When Caliber captured the Emerge Championship, he submitted basically a wish list of guys that he would like to defend the title against. One of those, either near or at the very top of that list.
It was right there.
Was superstar Chris Silvio. You're right, he's had one match in Emerge, but he's traveled the world, he's honed his craft, he is incredibly smooth, and Chris Caliber has been with Emerge since day one. He respects this company, he respects the Emerge Championship, and he's told me, and he's told his fans, he only wants to face the best and prove his mettle.
Oh, well, why don't you just let him write up a big old list and just turn it into your desk?
Here's the reason why I think, Lurch, because if somebody like, say, Jacob Johns with Nikki on his behalf or whatever the case may be would hold that and they would turn in a list, I think it would be like, you know who would give me a really good fight? Dakota Prodigy. I think he should fight me. It's going to be a lot of those people that they don't necessarily believe can stand up against them. I know Chris Caliber. I had the opportunity to shoot an interview with Chris Caliber not too long ago in which he talks about the fact that he wants to fight the best. He is in a position, and Chris, not to put words in her mouth, but you know that he is an honorable champion. He's an honorable of a person as there is, and he wants nothing more than to have the best matches with the best competitors who are going to make him better. And luckily, it's all to the benefit of our Emerge fan base.
Kamish, for the December show, A.W. Lurch, Chris Caliber, Emerge Championship match. You want the best?
You wanted the best.
That's it right there.
You got the mediocre.
Lest anyone think I'm going to let Chris Caliber decide his opponents each and every show. That's not the case. You got to look at Caliber's history, his recent, series with Zodiac. Quite frankly, he deserves to be able to call this shot. And if he were to request, again, a scrub to defend the title against, I would be the first guy to say absolutely not. But Chris Silvio is definitely worthy.
Yeah, I think he fought 2.5 years for this opportunity. It might be a good idea for him to be able to request his first opponent, and
Certainly.
these two men respect each other quite a bit. But on that note as well, let's not act like Caliber is just calling the shots and you went with it. Why not Chris Silvio? Chris Silvio is a world-class talent. He's traveled the world honing his craft, like you said earlier. He's been on NXT and Impact TV this year. He is somebody who can be an amazing asset, Lurch, for Emerge. You're a businessman. I know you're all about assets. This is somebody who can bring more eyes to this product and therefore you.
Okay.
See, you got to
Okay, you do have a point.
make it appeal to them.
I see. That's pretty smart.
So, I think, though, this is going to be an interesting match because I've said it before about Chris Caliber. 15 years ago, I know a lot of our fans were watching Chris Caliber 15 years ago, and he was a guy who could bust out corkscrews, moonsaults on any given night. And now, since he took his first retirement, he has bulked up, but it's all power. He's maintained that explosiveness, and Chris Silvio is a similar competitor, very strong, very powerful, but at the same time, he can fly. This, I think, is going to be an instant classic.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. That's why I booked the match.
Well, that's fair enough. And not only that, going back to the bomb shelter, you're going to be inviting them to the show.
Absolutely. Again, touching on what we talked about earlier, within hours after Zodiac lost the Emerge Championship, we here at the offices began receiving several disturbing phone calls, some emails, and I don't want to deal with this over the phone. I want to, I invite the bomb shelter to come to Emerge 26. Let's meet in the ring. Let's hash it out, and let's go from there.
And on top of that particular segment, we have 8 matches, all of which have the potential to be match of the night. We have on the Facebook Live Copies and More match. We have Aaron Anarchy, Johnny Justice, and Pompano Joe. Don't overlook this match.
Not at all.
Don't overlook this match because this has the potential to be as much of a classic as any of them. So be watching at 6:30 on Facebook Live because you never know what you're going to see. Match number 1, of course, Greatest Show on Earth, Trevor Court versus Nate Wings, has the potential to be one of those Emerge free matches that we release every month, Lurch. Justin Myers and Jared Kripke versus the Hellfire Club for the Tag Team Championships. We're talking about grit versus the smoothness of just beautiful competition. And Justin Myers and Jared Kripke, they're both flash, they both like to fly, and both of them are extremely impressive. Can't talk enough about how much both of these men have done to deserve this shot. ATM, Austin Tyler Morris, the Pretty Young Thing versus picture perfect Jordan Cage. Maybe we're finally going to get a definitive winner after Jordan Cage hit the bricks last time. Beautiful Brett Havoc versus the bronzed one, Lennox Norris, for the Outbreak Championship. Second title defense of the evening on this Emerge card, and that one has the potential to be a classic.
Without a doubt.
Scotty Young versus Poison Apollo Star. Two of the best wrestlers in the country who are both hungry and looking for that step-up win to regain their footing in Emerge and claw their way back. Number one contenders match for the Emerge Women's Championship, Randy West versus Laney Luck, and Karma will be ringside calling the action. Wipe the smile off your face. And finally, our main event for the Emerge Championship, Chris Caliber versus Chris Silvio, which is going to be an incredible matchup. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your card for Emerge 26, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Lurch, any parting thoughts?
Oh, I cannot wait till November 4th. We're going to see it starting at 6:30. I mean, I heard the front row is already sold out.
Absolutely.
It's going to be incredible. And honestly, well, I got nothing else. It's going to be amazing.
All right. Well, for A.W. Lurch, my name is Casey Johnson. Commish, as always, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you, Lurch. Well, fans, coming off the heels of Emerge 25, I don't think we could ask for much more. 3 new champions, 3 title defenses. All 3 champions will be tested. Don't sleep on our main event, Chris Silvio up against Chris Caliber. It's going to be a great night of action. Saturday night, November 4th, Parkside Elementary. Doors open at 6 o'clock. The Copies and More Facebook live stream begins at 6:30. We'll see you then.